Hello and welcome to the Stitching Over the Days podcast. My name is Constance and this is episode 25. Well, it's been a minute. Life on this end has been a bit hectic. I bring you greetings from Columbia, South Carolina, and for the past few weeks I've had my nieces and my nephews and I've been traveling a lot, and I went back and forth to Alabama quite a bit. So now I'm happy to just be home for a while and to be settled a bit, even though in a few weeks I will be traveling again. This summer has turned out to be quite busy, but I'm still happy to come to you with a new podcast. I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment out of your day to hear all about my sewing, knitting, and crochet adventures. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's CLEOCMC, and I also have a Ravelry group, Stitching Over the Days, which is so much fun, and I just love chatting over there and participating in the threads. And so join us if you'd like to. So today's episode will feature some finished objects. I want to update you on some of my works in progress, give you a bit of general chatter about the Kim Hargraves along, which is currently going on now, and then also I'll end with my archive treasure, or what I'm wearing. So without further ado, let's get started. So early in the summer I had a goal to finish my anemone top much earlier, even before the summer officially began. But as I was saying, it was just so busy and I didn't get to finish it. But I did make up in my mind that I was going to finish it. And it turned out to be quite hard to squeeze it in because, as I mentioned, I had my nieces with me for about 3 weeks. And so well, I'm sure that you all know, especially those of you who are mothers and have families, you know, you always have halts in your day with cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner. And so that time that I would usually have to myself, that soul time, it was definitely divided. But despite all of that and all of the activities we did, I finished it. And I absolutely love it so much. So let's talk about it a bit. This top comes from Marie Wallen's Filigree Collection 3. And this is my second pattern that I've created from this collection. Let me find an image of it, and it is the anemone top, which is a beautiful summer sweater, perfect for our hot weather. And this is it. And I like it so much. As you can see from the image I just shared, I stayed with the exact same color scheme because I just thought that white, I think the official name is it pure white or soft white? Let me find out for you. Yes, this is Rowan's Summer Light 4-ply in the color pure white. And I just thought the pure white looked beautiful with those lacy sleeves, and I thought it would really highlight the pattern. I do kind of regret just a tag on with the pure white because, of course, when you knit with it, you have to be very careful to make sure you don't get any stray strands or hairs on it, or to make sure it's not dirty. And even though you would block the garment, which is essentially washing it, but you know, you're blocking it in the blocking solution, with that pure white, I had to make sure that it was as bright white. And so what I did was I blocked it first in the soaking solution, then I went back and checked on it, and I noticed a bit of like light stains. Not that they were like horribly bad, but they weren't coming out with the blocking solution alone. So I put just like a cap full of bleach in the water. I'm not sure you're supposed to do this. This is just what I did. And then I put the bleach in there, and then what did I do after that? I think I even like hand washed some of the little sections that I noticed the spots, so I gently just rubbing it together. But it was a success, and I was able to get the garment pure white. And another thing is, I would typically wear this garment so much more, but I only wore it once when my nieces and we went to the movies, because I wanted it to look really good for the podcast, and I was just so afraid of dropping like a big blob of mustard or something on the top, and then I would have to wash it and block it again before the podcast. So I made up in my mind not to wear it again until I shared it with you all, which I'm doing now, and I cannot wait to get a lot of wear out of this. I did mention on my Instagram that I kind of regretted the color tab because I couldn't wear it as much, and I received quite a few suggestions for over dyeing it, which I think that I may do in the future, far future hopefully, should the garment get, you know, with age, how white garments get that kind of yellowish tint, and it's not as pure white, but we'll see how it wears because I plan to now wear it so much. The yarn feels amazing against my skin, and also those lacy sleeves. It was a really sunny day when I wore it, and I was walking on the campus. First we walked on a campus event, went to the library, then we went to the movies, we went shopping at the mall. It was a very full day, and I just felt amazing in this top, and I'm looking forward to wearing it with my skirts and my jean shorts and bottoms. I like it so much. Yes, the yarn was amazing. I found that when I made this top, which is also in Rowan Summer like 4-ply, maybe because I went down a hook size, and with the hook, the yarn was splitting just as big, but I experienced no problems with splitting this time around. I think because it was a larger hook, and also it was knitted needles. So that is it for the anemone top. I think I've shared everything. As you can see, the front and back pieces are purely stockinette stitch. It's very mindless, very easy to work up those front and back pieces, and even the crochet pattern was very easy, very intuitive, and you can memorize it. Well, I know that I memorized it after a few repeats, so that worked out nicely. But that is it for this top, and I did record some video footage of myself in the top, and I have pictures, and I'll insert that here. Okay, I tried to place the top on the sofa, but yeah, fell to the floor. Oh well, I'll pick it up in a bit. So, the next project is also a white garment. I did some pattern testing for Coco Wawa patterns, and I was excited when she sent me a message and asked if I would be interested in doing some pattern testing for her latest design. And her designs are really nice and lovely and beautiful, and so I thought, of course. And so this is my first time doing some pattern testing for sewing, so I was a bit nervous. It was also my first time using a PDF pattern. As you all know, the idea of PDF patterns never really appealed to me, but I went to the printing center on the campus, printed it off, and oh my goodness, the instructions for assembly were so easy. I built it up in my mind, and so the garment is just the perfect summer dress. And I learned a new technique also. Well, first let me tell you the name of the pattern. This is the Raspberry dress, and it is currently out. She released it about a few weeks ago, and it's, as you can see, it's a simple summer dress, and it has a sheared bodice. Is that sheared, or well, the bodice has shearing in it, and then it's just a gathered skirt attached. And you have a couple of sleeve options, and the pattern could be culottes. You can make culottes, shorts, or the dress, and of course I went with the dress because I love dresses. And the straps had many options too, and it had like, oh, I forgot what it's called when you have that little hardware piece that you could connect it with a circle. There was a flutter like sleeveless version, and I went with the tie sleeves. The fabric I used was from Joann's, and it's not pure linen. It's called linen light, I think, and obviously the color is white. When I saw the images the illustrations of the pattern, I thought that it would work up really, really easily. I was like, oh, I can knock that out the bag. So I kind of put it off. And then I was like, oh, I could work that up in a day. Well, it didn't go that well. Even though I'd never before done shearing, I started looking at a lot of videos. And Coco Wawa also had recommendations for videos on shearing. But I was not really successful with it. I first started doing the front piece, and it was going along really nicely. And so after about 4 rows, all of a sudden my machine started like jamming and acting up. So I had to I took everything apart. I played with the tension in the machine. I rewrapped the elastic thread, and yeah, it just was I just had a really hard time with it. And so I only did like one front piece one day, and that was after hours of working, just wrestling with my machine. It's really hard to explain, but yeah, it was like me and my sewing machine, we were like fighting, trying to get this tension right and to get this shearing right. And so that was one day when I just did the front piece, and by that time my mind was just mentally exhausted. I was tired of dealing with it. I said I'll revisit this on the next day. So I did the back bodice piece the next day, and it worked out nicely. Still, I wrestled with my machine quite a bit. I purchased about, was it 5 or 6 spools of the elastic thread, and because I was wrestling with my machine so much, I wasted quite a bit. Then I was really afraid that I was going to run out of the elastic thread. So because I kept, having problems, so I ran to Joann's to pick up more elastic thread, and the only color they had was red. And of course I couldn't use the red thread with this white dress, but I purchased it anyway. But then in my mind I was just even more so stressed, because I was thinking like, oh, there's no room for mistakes anymore. So I was like, I have to get this right, because I don't have any more thread to just waste, white thread. So, and I was on a deadline. So I started praying, and I was like, just work, just do it. So finally, during the last few rows, the shearing went nicely. Now, a lot of people messaged me and commented that they find shearing to be so much fun, and I expect that it is fun when everything is right. But right now, I have not found the perfect formula or tension for my machine with this elastic thread, and I have to practice some more. And so I have another McCall's pattern that has some light shearing just in the middle, and the rest is not. It's not as much as this dress. So I'm going to practice more, because I want to get to that point when I can say, oh, this is so much fun. But it wasn't that much fun. So if you have any suggestions for me on what you do to make sure your shearing goes along perfectly or smoothly, please let me know, because I need help. Because the garment turned out beautiful and it wasn't a disaster, but whew, yes, I was so happy to get it done. So by that time I was exhausted. I didn't want, so I went with the simple, I was so happy that I went with the gathered skirt and the simple tie straps, because my mind was just like, I can't do anymore. But I love the dress so much. Again, it's white, so I was hesitant to wear it a lot before I shared it on the podcast. But now that I shared it, I look forward to wearing this really light summer dress more before it gets cold. And we have quite a few more days, hot days left here in South Carolina, so I expect that will get a lot of wear. Okay, let's see. Was there anything else? No, that is it. I did not get any video footage of myself in the dress. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time, and I was thinking about doing it this morning, but again, it's just, I just didn't have time. I'm sorry. I don't like to feel like I'm making excuses, but I am. I'll briefly just say that I have 2 jobs right now, and I'm also a course assistant for a class, and for 2 classes during the summer, and they're graduate classes. And so there's I have to do a lot of reading of the students' works, and with graduate classes, that's a lot of writing. And so I just didn't have time, I'm sorry, to get that video footage, but I do have pictures. And I will insert those pictures of myself in the Raspberry Dress by Coco Wawa Patterns. So that is it for that finished object. I really think the dress is quite beautiful, and I just really wanted a white summer dress, and I think that that perfectly fits the bill. Okay, somehow a fly got into my apartment, and it's been annoying me all morning. And so if you see me do that, then I'm sorry, but it's a fly, and I need to get it out. And now, whew, but yeah. Okay, I have one more finished sewing project that I'm absolutely ecstatic about. This is, oh, and I want to say before I share this next project that you could just go to Coco Wawa's website, and you can find the PDF pattern for the Raspberry Dress / culotte / shorts. Yeah, so recently, I was approached about a month ago by Minerva Crafts, asking if I would like to be a part of their Minerva Crafts blogger network. And I was like, yes! And so, I completed my first project with Minerva Crafts blogger network, and that was McCall's 7906. I saw this pattern in the early spring collection of McCall's, and it immediately called to me. I thought it was so elegant, so beautiful. I love high waist skirts. I love full skirts. I love pleats. And you know I love button fronts. And so it was like everything that I love in a skirt, and I just thought it was stunning. And so I decided to choose this for my first project. So I went to Minerva Crafts site, and I started looking for, I knew I wanted it to be in a staple color. I was thinking of denim or a cotton sateen and something like, you know, maybe like this khaki color they have here, or like the olive green. I knew pretty much that I wanted it to be a solid color, because those pleats and that button front, I wanted it to stand out. I wanted you to notice it, and I think those details would have been hidden if I would have chosen a printed fabric. So in the end, after much searching, I just want to say, when it comes down to me, when I search for fabrics, it takes me a long time. I'm trying to envision, like, how is this going to fit? I think I've stated this before. How is this going to fit in my wardrobe? What am I going to wear it with? Which sweaters is it going to look good with? Which tops is it going to look good with? And so it's really hard for me to just randomly choose a fabric, and I think that's why I've been having a hard time choosing a fabric or a project for my next Minerva Crafts post, because I've been thinking about it, and I've been brainstorming even with my niece. And so I came up with a few ideas, but then I kind of threw them out the window, so I'm still thinking. But that was the case with this project also. But I'm super happy that I took the time to think about it, because you guys, this fabric is a dream. It's perfectly what I wanted for in this skirt. It has a nice weight to it. It's a medium weight denim. It is reversible, but I went with the blue denim side. And as you can see, I made version D of this McCall's pattern, and I made the size 6. I was kind of nervous about going with the 6 because I wasn't sure if it was going to be too tight, but I went off the I looked at the printed measurements on the printed pattern pieces, and I felt that I knew that according to the measurements that the size 6 should fit me perfectly. And since this is a high waist skirt, I needed the fit to be perfect. And so I did not go with the size 8, which is what I've usually gone with in the past, like with dresses, just to give myself a little bit more room. And I was nervous when, you know how when you're sewing and you kind of try the garment on a little bit, and I didn't think it was going to button, but they were completely right. When I actually finished the garment, put the buttons on, everything, the fit was just perfection. And I'm so happy I went with the size 6, because I think the size 8 would have been too large. I do want to say a quick note. Someone asked me about I received a question just a week ago or so asking about the sizes that I make. And I just want to say that when it comes to the big 5 sewing pattern companies, when I say a size 6 or 8, that's the size that they have on the pattern envelope. But if it was a typical commercial garment that I was buying from the store, I do usually wear a size 0 to 2. But when it comes to making sewing patterns from the name companies, McCall, Simplicity, Butterick, I usually go with a size 6 or 8. But I went with the size 6. The fit was perfect. This fabric was so much fun. I mean, it was just a pleasure to work with this fabric. It pressed. I find pressing in the sewing process to be so satisfying, especially when you have a fabric like this and you see how those pleats like pressed together so beautifully. It was so much fun. My niece was here while I was making this skirt, and she was just like, why do you keep going to the pressing board, to the ironing board? Why do you keep pressing? I was like, you have to understand, Aaliyah, that in sewing there is a lot of pressing involved, but it's a good thing that I love pressing. And so I found this super satisfying. It was such a joy. And I also looked at the hashtag on Instagram to see if I should press the pleats all the way down. And I noticed that some people pressed the pleats all the way down, some didn't. And so in the end, I decided to press the pleats all the way down to the hem because that's how it looked on the pattern envelope. And I'm so happy I went with that choice. I did wear this garment. I wore it twice already. I wore it with my Amy Apple boardwalk blouse with my green cloths, and it looked so nice. I like that outfit a lot. Then my mother had a fun day / picnic, and I went home for that, and so I wore it with just my polka dot top, my Agnes top, and it looked really nice with that. And then I also wore it with the navy blue Agnes top. So I just want to say that I'm so happy I went with this choice because it was a good, it's just a good versatile piece. And let's see, I said that I made the 6. Also, there is a process, like the button band is created by like simply folding it twice. And when you fold it the first time, they instruct you to hand stitch the raw edges. And even though I don't mind hand stitching as much as I used to not like the process at all, but I was really on a deadline and I wanted to get this done. So instead, I just did a straight stitch within the fold line to hold that fold in place because it wasn't going to show, and I just knew that hand stitching, because I went with the longest option, that would have just taken too long. So I did a straight stitch down and then I folded it again. And another step, I did not, they told me to fold in like 1/4 of an inch at the top of the hemline. And then I think I was supposed to either hand stitch it in place or do a top stitch. But what I did was I just serged the hem and then I folded it and did a top stitch because, again, I was just trying to do a shortcut with the limited time that I had available. And it worked out nicely, and I still think the garment looks lovely, and I just found that to work. And I do plan to make this again because I love the pattern so much, and I think I'll do those steps again because I really don't see the purpose in just wasting time or spending so much time hand stitching when it's not necessary. I'll see if it was like a coat or something, I would have had to hand stitch those areas. Like in coats, you have to do that. But I did get pictures of the skirt, and I will share it. And also, I do believe I have video footage. It is so funny because I forgot to do the video footage, so I came back inside from the park, and then I was like, oh no, so I went back out. So I do know that I have video footage of this skirt, and I'll insert all of that here. Okay, so that's it for the finished objects. I actually did some a bit of mending, or is it tailoring? I'm not sure. For my niece, she had this top that was a dress, and she wanted, yeah, she had a dress and she wanted me to make it into a top. So I made that into a top for her. I cropped it, pretty much just cropped it, serged it, and sewed it in place. And she also wanted a skirt, you know, the wrap skirt. I can't think of the number at the top of my head, but I shared it previously about 2 episodes back. It was a McCall's pattern, and she really liked that pattern, so she wanted a wrap skirt. And I made her this beautiful wrap skirt out of this like stretch denim that, oh, it was such a pleasure to work with. And I purchased it from Joanne. She chose it, and I was thinking it would be really good for jeans because the stretch was amazing, but it still pressed so beautifully. And I made her that wrap skirt, and I had some fabric left over, and I also made her a retro headband to match that wrap skirt. It was the tutorial from the Crafty Pinup. And I also added 2 inches because she's a little bit taller than I am, and she didn't want the skirt to be so short. So I added 2 inches to the hem for that pattern. And unfortunately, I have no images. I did share like a shot of it on my Insta stories, which is probably in my archive finished objects on Instagram. But I was planning to get some footage of my niece in the skirt, but she wore it a couple of times while she was here, and then she dropped, we went out to eat, and I think she dropped some mustard or something, like a blob on it. And then by the time she was about to wash it, then she washed the day before they were about to leave. We just didn't have time before we got on the road to get any pictures, and by the time I got home after driving about 5 hours, I was exhausted. And so I don't have any images of my niece in the skirt. So hopefully one day I'll share that. You know, I do quite a bit of sewing and making for my family, and many times I don't have an opportunity to share it here because once I give it to them, it is so hard to just wrangle them all together to get an image or to get some video footage. For example, I made my mother this kind of beautiful, you know, that red and gold. I made a sheer red and gold previously for myself, and she liked it so much. So I made her a sheer red and gold with a matching dress. And she's worn it for Mother's Day and also to a wedding. But unfortunately, I don't have any pictures of her in it besides, like, of course, with the wedding photos, it's like just candid shots of her in the garment. And I also made her skirts before. But yeah, so I need to do better about getting pictures of my family members and the things that I make them, which I will do one day. So I'm going to take a bit of a break because I'm going to talk about my works in progress. And as I'm looking at my notes, I realized I forgot to bring one of the works in progress over here into this section. And so I'll get that and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's talk about the current works in progress I have. When I finished my anemone top, I picked my socks that I had on my needles back up. And previously when I picked them back up, all I had complete was the cuff. Isn't that cuff so beautiful? I think it's the most elegant sock cuff I've ever seen. And so this pattern, it is the Line Socks by Dawn Henderson. And I'm using Quince & Company, is it Finch, in the color Lichen. So beautiful. I had like exactly one skein of that. And so, I'm not sure, but I'm going to try to squeeze out a pair of ankle socks out of this one skein. We shall see. But yes, and so after you create that beautiful cuff, it's pretty much an easy stitch, as you can see. I did make a mistake, and what did I do? I was doing a 1x1 rib for some odd reason, and I finished like about this much of it, and then I realized like I was having a mind blank. I don't know, and so I had to rip it back and then go back and do the correct twisted 1x1 ribbing. And I think it's just a really nice pair of socks, and I think it's going to look really lovely with my Cads I hope I finish it before the summer is out, but it's really hard for me to just buckle down and do my accessory knitting because I usually want to work more and more on my garments. But maybe I'll try to finish at least one sock within the next day or two. Maybe I'll work on it tonight if I'm not seduced by my other project, which I can't wait to share with you. So that's how that is going. I did go down, I remember a needle size. I'm not sure the exact needle size, but the details are on my Ravelry page because she used 64 stitches to cast on, and usually I prefer 56 for a bit of a negative ease, so I went down a needle size or two, I'm not sure, to get that more fitted sock. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying that. It's really nice to cart along. I have been taking it with me a little bit when I go to work and go to the library, but even then I've only been able to achieve a few rows here and there, not a lot. So that is that. Now let's talk about the Kim Hargraves pattern that I chose to be my first garment design by Kim Hargraves. I previously shared a hat that I made, the birch hat, which is a crochet design by Kim Hargraves, but this is my first garment and I'm really excited about it. And I love the yarn, I love the pattern, I love the instructions. I just having so much fun. I mean, it's just so much fun, and it's been working up so quickly, and it's just a dream. And so whenever I have this much enthusiasm for a project, I expect this will be done within the next couple of weeks or so. The pattern is from Kim Hargraves' Haze collection, which is an amazing collection. I think I did a flip through previously of this collection. I shared my gauge swatch in the past. It must still be in my knitting bag. Usually I stick it in a book, but I guess I didn't this time. But I have too many things in my lap. Okay. This is the Stunning Jacket by Kim Hargraves. She describes this as a design, it's like level 2, so I think that's for a knitter with a little experience. But it's a really easy design. I memorized the cable. It's a cable garment with some twisted stitches, and I memorized the repeat after doing a gauge swatch one time, and not even an entire gauge swatch. After doing one repeat, I had the stitch in my head, and so because it's so easy to memorize, I'm so surprised. But it's really pleasant for watching TV and podcasts with this project. And so, but it's not like as boring, or yeah, I'll say boring, because sometimes stocking that stitch can be quite boring, but it's not like stocking that stitch. So you're doing something, but it's still quite interesting, but it's still working up super quickly. So I finished my back piece, yay, and I promise you it worked up so fast. Even though I was traveling and I came home, I finished the back piece. If I was to like accumulate all of the days, I think I could have done it in like 3 days. But it was spaced out. But I completed the back piece. You guys, how beautiful is that? I wish you could come to this camera and feel this yarn. This is the Rowan hand knit cotton. The color is gentian blue, and it's a limited edition K-facet color. So they won't be around forever. And because of this, I purchased a sweater's quantity of 2 additional colors from that collection in the fuchsia pink color, I think it's called fuchsia, and the other one was a green called beetle, which is back here, as you can see a little bit back there. But I love it. The sheen of the yarn. Also, can you see that drape? You guys, it's amazing. But it still holds the structure of the stitch patterns. Like, it really shows off that definition of the stitch, and I love it so much. What can I say about it? Also, it has this like pearlescent finish, but it's not like really shiny or anything. It's just like pearlescent. It's a pearlescent finish that's subtle, but it's really lovely. And so I think that's why I'm having so much fun with the project. As I was stating, the yarn is a dream to work with. The stitch pattern is so much fun, and I'm really enjoying it so much. My next step is creating, I think I have to create the pockets because this garment does have pockets. How fun is that? And then I'll just do the left front, right front, and the sleeves. And so that's going to be quite fun. I can't think of anything else to say. Oh, I did go down a needle size to get gauge. And I'm making an extra small, which is a 32 bust. It's a beautiful, beautiful design. And I wanted to, like, of course, the hearts and cardigan has been like my dream Kim Hargraves pattern. But for some reason, I just wanted to dip my toes in the water a bit by choosing this pattern. And it's just been such a joy to work up and to work with. So I'm having so much fun with it. Oh, I wanted to say something about the yarn. I do think the yarn is a dream to work with, and I think it provides a beautiful finish. But I've used so far 2 balls. Yes, 2.5 balls, and the first 2 balls I ran into a knot in the skein, and that I find that so annoying because I don't know, with me I like to join my yarn at the end of each row. Like whenever I join a new yarn, I like to join it at the end of, or should I say the beginning of a new row. I don't like to join my yarns in the middle of a row because I sometimes think it's harder to blend it. And I think, where did I start doing that? I think that I read that maybe from the Stitch and Bitch books early in my knitting days that you should join. And so that just always stuck with me. So it's not really fun at all when you're like knitting away and then this knot comes. And so I have to like rip back and join it. And I did that for the first time I ran into the knot. But the second time I ran into a knot, I just kind of let it go. And no, the first time, because here I see that I just joined the yarn kind of right here, as you can see, which is in the middle of my row. But usually I like to join that yarn at the end because it's just easier to blend. So that was a bit of an annoyance, and I'm hoping this pattern uses 12 skeins for the size I'm making, and I'm hoping that I don't run into any more knots, but I'm expecting that I may run into some more. And I actually purchased 13 skeins because I'm going back and forth with the idea of making long sleeves, because as you all know, I find 3/4 length sleeves to sometimes be limiting because I still get cold on those little portions of my forearms. But we'll see. That is it. And so I'm looking forward to working on this a bit more, and I'm hoping that I'll get a lot done on my stunning jacket by Kim Hargraves. Okay, now this project, I actually haven't worked on it that much. I think I've done maybe a row or two here or there, but not in a significant amount. But I wanted to share an update with you all because I think this is the garment that I received the most messages about, and viewers and also followers on Instagram always want to know how it's coming along. And so I feel that it'll just be good, even though I will always respond to those messages, but I figure it might be other curious people out there wondering about my Alice Star Moore Jane Seymour cardigan. This beautiful design. As you all know, I shared in a few episodes back, I finished the back, the left front, and right front, and I'm simply just have to finish the sleeves. And for some reason, I just haven't been able to buckle down and do it. I don't know if it's just been so hot and I don't feel motivated to work with that authentic wool, or maybe for some reason, I don't know. I've just been maybe too busy, but I haven't picked it up as much as I wanted to, because I think previously I said that I wanted to have it completed by the end of June, and that didn't happen. And so yeah, but let me share what I have done on the first sleeve, and it's simply this much, which is not even worth sharing. And as a motivation, I entered the outfit along, which is hosted by Andy Satterlin and Lady of Untangling Knots and Lauren of ladybird.com. And the challenge for the outfit along this year was to dig out a work in progress and to finish it and then make the sewing garment, whether it be sewing garment or knitted garment, and make an outfit. And so I chose this garment for my outfit along, and I want to make a corduroy dress. I have some corduroy that closely matches this color here. And this yarn is Alistair Moore Hebridean, what is it called? Is it Hebridean 4-ply? I have to look it up. But Hebridean 2-ply. And so I want to make a corduroy dress to match the garment. But even with entering the outfit along, I haven't been made much progress at all on it. And the outfit along ends July 31st. And looking at my calendar in July, we shall see. I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, but it would be a miracle if I finished that cardigan by the end of this month, because we're in July now. And as I've stated, I will be traveling in a couple of weeks and attending a conference, so we shall see. But I don't want to neglect this project, so instead of just putting that pressure on myself to finish it, I will challenge myself to just work on it, because I think that because I have this deadline looming in my head, it makes me not want to pick it up at all. But I just need to work on it, because it would be amazing to have that finished before the cold weather gets here. I think it's an absolutely beautiful and stunning design, and I expect that I will have it for years to come and that I will wear it quite a bit. So yeah, that is an update on my Jane Seymour cardigan, which is simply stunning, designed by Alistair Moore. So, what was the next thing? That is it for the current works in progress that I'll share with you today. Of course, I have a couple of more. Wait, is it just one other? Yes, my Battenberg blanket, which I haven't worked on that much either. And so that's it. And so when I start joining more squares, I'll update you on that blanket. So on Monday was July 1st, and the Kim Hargraves along started. Quite a few of us had a bit of a head start before the official start date started, so much so that I expect there will be some finished objects popping up soon in the Kim Hargraves finished objects thread, which is a no chatter thread. We just simply want to see your beautiful garments. But if you want to chatter more, definitely come to the Kim Hargraves along thread. And oh my goodness, it's so much fun. And not only that, it's full of so much knitting wisdom and tips that I never dreamed of or imagined. I'm always clicking like educational and light and trying to save like the tips and techniques that so many experienced knitters have added to that thread. I mean, it is such a blessing to have so many like amazing knitters join this knit along, because that type of advice, I mean, it's priceless. You can't pay for that, and it's completely unexpected, and then it's just so generous of these knitters to share their wisdom, and I appreciate it so much. And I can't even begin. Like I said, so many things I've learned from this thread or this Kim Hargraves along already, and I've already been like saving tips and tricks. And so if you want to just head over to the thread, you might find something also. And so it started July 1st. That was the official start date, and the official end day will be December 31st, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is a 6-month knit along. So I just want you to have plenty of time to knit to your heart's content any Kim Hargraves design, and that can be old or new. When she was with Rowan magazine, and I think her publications are still under Rowan, but she's not with the magazine part anymore. But whether it's from when she was with Rowan Magazine or from her newer collections, or the free patterns available on Rowan Yarn's website. And it can be crochet or knit. It could be garments or accessories. And yeah, so I hope you'll join us. I have been gathering together. I found some books and things that I think that would be great for the giveaway. I'm thinking that maybe for each giveaway, I'll have a book. Most likely it'll definitely be have Kim Hargrave's designs in the book, or be a sole collection of hers, along with some yarn or a skein of yarn, and maybe little other goodies or trinkets, knitting things. But I've been having fun even thinking about the gifts for the giveaway, and so I have 6 months to just accumulate all of the goodies for whoever our winners will be from this stitch along. And so I've been having fun like shopping and putting things in my wish list and basket as giveaways, and so that's going to be fun when December arrives, announcing those winners who will be chosen randomly. Once you post your finished object to the finished object thread, I'm going to do, I know I've used random number generator in the past, but usually I like to plug in the Ravelry usernames, or when I've done a giveaway in the past on my Instagram, and into Excel, and then I'd like to use the random number function there because I just like Excel. So it'll be chosen randomly from those who place their finished objects in the finished objects thread by the deadline. So make sure you do that. So we'd love seeing your finished objects in the chatter thread, the Kim Hargraves alone, but make sure to post it in the finished objects thread, and I'll send out reminders as we get closer to that deadline. Also, I want to say, feel free to double dip your project into other knit alongs or stitch alongs that may be occurring. For example, somebody commented on my Instagram that they plan to enter the Fruity Knitting New Techniques knit along that they're having, and that is pretty much you have to create a garment using a new technique that you never tried before. And so it's funny because when they said that, I was like, you know what, I was thinking about joining that knit along too, but the new technique I wanted to try was beading, because I've never used beading in my knitted garments before, and I don't think that it would be hard. And Kim Hargraves, she uses she has quite a few designs that has beading in it. And actually, I just want to share this one design with you, but of course it would be at the bottom of this. How? So, in her Indigo collection, she has this, I think she had a couple of beaded garments. And so there are two I'm debating, but I like this one a lot. And the name of this, if you want to see it better, it's called Sheen. And I like that beading. And someone also made a recommendation in the thread for a place that I could purchase beading. So I haven't purchased it yet because I haven't decided on the yarn and color yet. And then she has this beautiful beaded little, neat little cropped sweater. So it's between this, not sweater, but cardigan. So it's between that top and that cardigan. And then also in the Rowan book, 40 years commemoration book, is it commemoration? I'm not sure of the word, but celebrating their 40 years of being in existence, the company, there's a beaded Kim Hargraves design with a intarsia motif in the center, and I'm really attracted to that. So I'm thinking that I will enter Fruity Knitting's new technique knit along with this Kim Hargraves design. So I say all that to say, feel free to enter your garment in other knit alongs or stitch alongs. Also, the official hashtag, I was trying to think of an official hashtag, and at first I went with SOTDKH along, but I felt that was too many letters, and then I did SOTD Kim Hargraves along, and I still thought that was quite long. So in the end, even though those two hashtags could work, the quickest hashtag will definitely be hashtag Kim Hargraves along. And that's the hashtag that you can use on Instagram or social media to share your projects. But I've been following all three of those hashtags for the stitch along. And it's been fun also on Instagram seeing your projects pop up. Okay, I think that I covered everything, but if you wanted more details on the rules, and it's not like a lot of rules, because I want you, I don't want you to get overwhelmed or stressed from a knit along. I just want you to have fun. But if you want more details on the Kim Hargraves along, definitely head over to the Ravelry group and check out those threads. I do have plans. I hope that I could create, but I don't know. We have only 6 months left in the year, so I don't want to be too ambitious. But I do want to create definitely a second Kim Hargraves design with the hearts and cardigan. And I also want to create a beaded garment. But I don't know if that is too ambitious. I'll have to see how my schedule is looking. But I do want to create more than one Kim Hargraves pattern before the year's out. And also, if you want to create more than one, feel free to do so. Well, I think that is going to conclude today's episode. And I wanted to share the archive treasure, or rather what I'm wearing, because it hasn't been in the archives that long. And this is the Aster top by Marie Wallen. I paired it with my gold Hollyburn skirt, and I just put a cami top under. And I'm wearing it with this necklace, which was a gift from my lovely friend Lakita. And yeah, so I talked about this garment a couple of episodes back. If you're curious to know the details, or you can head over to my Ravelry page to get further details. But that is it. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend, and I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July to my American viewers here. And I'll see you all later. Bye!